What's up, Janelle?
Hey, Broncy.
How is it going?
It is going okay, I would say.
Wait,
Yeah, it is.
I mean, okay could be loaded because from the socials, I saw you and Spody out living y'all's best West Coast Portland lives this weekend.
Oh yeah, yeah. We were definitely doing the Pacific Northwest things. Went camping in Detroit Lake. Got had to be rescued from the middle of the lake with Spody on my lap.
Wait,
Yeah.
what?
You know, sometimes you just
I did see that
on a
picture.
float,
Like how it started and then how it ended.
Yeah, the plan was we were just going to get in our floats and just float in the general, area, be able to swim back to the shore, engage in some good conversation. Next thing you know, you look up and the shore is a lot further away than you anticipated.
My God.
But
So how did y'all get back?
Good Samaritans.
Oh, okay.
Some good Samaritans named James and Jake with their paddle boards that tied us up and paddled us all the way back to shore.
That is crazy. What would you have done without James and Jake?
I still be floating on that lake.
And Spody was out there with you?
He was on my lap.
Oh my God. That sounds like a good time though.
No,
That's
it was a lot of fun. And camping was really, really fun.
Okay, when you say camping, were you camping or were you glamping?
No, I was like proper camping. We set up a tent. There were no showers. Like you pull up to the lot, all there is dirt and trees, and you got to figure the rest out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I love that. I have never in my life done anything
10 out of 10
remotely close.
experience.
You would do it again?
Definitely recommend. I would absolutely do it again.
Okay, put that as an option. Well, wait, if I come to visit you, I don't know if I want to be out camping.
Well, see, you have to come long enough that we can just go camping for like 1 or 2 nights and then come back and do regular shit,
You're right. Okay, we'll add it to the list. We'll add it to the list of possibilities.
What'd you get into this weekend? I saw you guys were playing a little tennis.
Oh, yeah. This weekend was nice. Like, it's been raining here quite a bit. So it cooled down, and then we also got like really beautiful days. So I was like, I'm taking advantage of every little bit of this. So yeah, played tennis. We were riding bikes. And then in Harlem, they have this thing called the Stoop. It's basically where they like curate this live music, but they'll do it like themed. This thing was like, I can't remember what it was. Anyway.
Is that what
It's like a whole entire, they block off it's like a block party essentially. And it's at night for 2 hours. And it's just a vibe. There's so many Black people out there just enjoying each other and music.
Yeah, I could have sworn I saw a clip of like A$AP Ferg performing on a stoop in Harlem. Was that at that same event?
Yeah.
Or did I make that up?
He was there.
Okay.
But yeah, so lots of things have happened over the last few weeks since the last time we got a chance to sit down and discuss. Are you ready to jump into Above the Fold for this week?
Let's do it. The first thing that we have to talk about coming off of the last couple of weeks are the Olympics. Let me just say, being out there in the woods camping, we had no service. And of course, it was like the 2 days or like the day that the hurdle finals were. So I was a little sick out there, like, damn. Like I thought a couple of times, like I should just get in my car and then drive to where I can get some service and watch this race. But I didn't do that. I was like, you know what? I can just live with the results. But obviously, over the past couple of weeks, everybody's been tuned in to the Olympics, all the events, starting off with like gymnastics. I think it was like the first event that I really kind of tuned into. Seeing Simone Biles do her thing, Jordan Childs, which is obviously a touchy subject these days. That whole thing. I have faith she's getting that medal back just based on the video evidence and all of that kind of stuff. So I'm not too worried about it, but I do think they tried it.
Yeah, I'm just like, they definitely tried it. That image of Simone, Rebecca, and Jordan will forever be etched in like history. Y'all, yeah, stop playing with her. Like y'all could, I hate to say it, but I'm gonna say it. Couldn't take that 3 black women were at the top of this white sport and are historically considered white sport. Give her thing.
And that was the first, that was the first all black podium, I think, in like Olympic and gymnastics history.
Yeah.
So when I heard, excuse me, when I heard the news that they were taking that medal back, and I realized like what podium it was, I was like, oh hell no! Like the internet is about to cut up.
And cut up. The internet is doing.
Yeah.
But you know, the flip side of this is I think the social currency that Jordan, like there are like obviously she's an Olympian and a medal winner. Even without the bronze, or even with the bronze, like it would have been great. But I feel like the social currency that she's getting from all that is happened with them stripping or wanting to strip the bronze away from her is going to propel her so much further than if this situation didn't happen. So while it is unfortunate, like I feel like she's being embraced by the community and the culture in a way that I hope pays dividends as we can continue going forward.
Yeah. 100% agree. So fingers crossed this all gets worked out in her favor. The other thing though, was there anything else on gymnastics?
Not on gymnastics, but before we get into, oh yeah, go ahead. You good.
I don't even know where to begin with this one. I did not watch this competition, but the clips that kept going viral from the breakdancing competition.
It's called breaking.
Sorry, breaking.
Breaking
competition.
You have to, there has to be a distinction, because I think when we think about breakdancing, we think about breakdancing. So breaking is not breakdancing in the way that we know. Exactly what you saw is the difference.
No, that's not the difference. Doing kangaroo hops and flopping around like a catfish.
They were like
out of water. Nah.
No, they were. Oh my! I don't have words. I don't have words.
This was the first year of breaking,
and it needs
the
to be
LA
the
Olympics
last.
already said they weren't bringing before the competition even started. LA, we knew it was not going to be in LA, but homegirl from Australia got up there and showed her whole ass. And if I were anybody else in that competition, we got to fight. Because you just made because I feel like I haven't seen any other breakers from this competition, but from what I heard, they weren't as bad as sis. And so my thing is, if the only thing going viral from our sport, and we're trying to legitimize the sport in the world of, the Olympics, and you get out there and do that, that undermines all the progress that we've made to get to this point, and justifies why it's not going to be in the LA Olympics. You made a complete mockery of the whole sport. So I'm just saying, if I'm another breaker, I'm livid.
Why did she do that? Is she not really a breaker and just came and was doing all this? I don't know what she...
I don't know if she did it on purpose, if she really thought she did something. Either way, I think she got like zeros. Like score-wise. And if you look at the clip, the people in the background, their faces, it's clearly like something is wrong.
Oh God!
And then of course, the internet gonna take it, and they put like the sound effect with like the screeching like sneakers to it.
Like what was she doing? She was like an animal. I don't know what she. She did like a little. It's like, girl, what are you doing? Yeah, LA knows what to do. There's no way we're gonna go for that over here.
Exactly, but just think about all the opportunities now that every other breaker is gonna miss out on. Like, what brand is sponsoring any breaker at this point?
None, because that was a joke.
Right.
Did you watch basketball?
The question. No, I was still out in the wilderness. I had to watch the highlights after. But
Gotcha.
just one quick thing on breaking though. The funny thing is that while it won't be in the LA Olympics, there is a chance they can bring it back for the 2032 games in Australia.
Ciao. And that's probably exactly what they're going to do. Like, if I was a country, I would be petty in that way and be like, oh, y'all didn't want it. When we host, we definitely going to do it.
Yeah. But basketball. What did I mean, I know I missed
I
Steph
didn't
Curry
watch
going
either.
off.
I was playing tennis. I mean, the final, but
Why'd you roll your eyes when I said I didn't see it?
I didn't roll my eyes. I just
Oh,
looked in a
you look
different
like
direction.
it. Okay. That sounds like me when I was growing up and getting in trouble. Like, did you roll your eyes? No, I just looked over there.
Exactly. That's what it is. I'm just excited that both the women's and the men brought home the gold.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard the women it was really close. I
Really?
think I think they only won by 1 point, and it was because it came down to like the wire and a 3-pointer from France. But her toe was on the line, so she only got like two points. Like it was really, really close.
Wow. Wow.
So
Yeah. But shout out
but they pulled
to
it out.
both of them teams.
Yeah. So but I guess speaking of both of those teams, then did you see the Nike win ads for both of those teams?
Yes, I did. I really loved the one that was like every four
The women's
years.
one?
Yeah, the women's one. Every 4 years, teams from across the world come together to compete. And then it was like this long, dramatic B-roll in
Mhm.
between. And then at the end, it was like for second place because clearly the US is always going to take first, is what that was saying. And I was just like, Nike, okay, y'all are eating this. Winning isn't for everyone.
Mhm.
I've really enjoyed the spots and like, yeah, it's great
Yeah.
storytelling.
Yeah. I mean, all of them really. Like, I think Diana Taurasi VO'd that one. I think for the men's win ad, it sounded like KD VO'd that one. But then, like, they had the individual athlete ones coming out as well.
Hmm.
So you had like Asia Wilson's individual joint, LeBron, KD had an ad that came out. I'd say maybe like a week or so ago, maybe a week and a half ago, which was an interesting story because we talked about the anthem,
Hmm.
and I remember seeing the day that the KD stuff dropped, and I was like, wait a minute, I don't remember him being in the anthem. And I
Right.
went back, and apparently he was not in the anthem, and he called Nike out in his Instagram stories, saying like, "Hey, I've been a Nike athlete for however many years, and am I a bad person?" Like, ask Nike, "Am I a bad person?" Which was like the tag of their anthem, um, which is like, I mean, that's a bold ass move, but it worked because he got his own spot. He got all this out of home, and the copy on all of his out of home was, "Is Katie a bad person? No, he's the baddest."
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I
it
mean,
worked out, and it was a
it
great story.
clearly it worked out. Clearly it
Yeah.
worked out.
Speaking of win ads, we can't not talk about the Adidas win ad for Anthony Edwards. Did you take a look at that?
I absolutely did. And I absolutely loved this ad. I watched it like 3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought this was exceptional. I liked it. It really just felt like the culture, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Well,
with the choir and the black people singing this like spiritual song, but then
mhm.
also putting our own sauce and like, I don't want to call it hood, but you know what I mean? Like our own sauce to it of like, yeah, it's just like everything about it. And then like the montages, it
So
just felt good. It was a feel good moment.
It was, but I will say my first reaction, and I was really eager to get here to talk to you about it. The use of, because like that's a spin on a gospel song, right? He's got the whole world in his hands, right? And the song's about God or Jesus having the whole world in his hands, and we're now applying that to Anthony Edwards. It's not the first time it's happened. Like the whole campaign for LeBron when he first came out, like, you know, when they had the whole spot with Bernie Mac being the pastor in the church and can I get a witness, and that whole vibe is borrowing from the church and all that kind of stuff. Does that ever make you feel some type of way? Does it ever like encroach on like, okay, this is getting a little bit too, this might be a little too much? Or
no, in this sense, I don't think so. Like, I don't feel overly sensitive in that way unless you got someone calling themselves the Messiah or something like that. Then it's like, okay, now that feels a bit blasphemous. But this, I feel like it's a double entendre.
Yeah.
Like, clearly we know as the culture, like what the song is about, but then it's like cleverly using it in this way to be like, you know, like all these
world.
Components and pieces, of this individual, like he got us on his back. And I feel like that's the way that it's being displayed. So it was very tasteful.
Yeah, and I thought it was clever too, because it's like, okay, you're talking about the Olympics, a global competition, so you're the best in the world, and it's like, I got the whole world in my hand kind of joint. So,
Yeah. I like that.
all right, I'm rolling. Sticking with the Olympics, because this is the Olympics episode, we have to talk about my favorite event, what I was sitting up, marked my calendar for the whole time, which is track and field. I mean,
okay,
why you say it like that? Okay,
so I have to say it. I'm gonna say it. We're gonna do this. I'm gonna say it. So for y'all that don't know, Janelle does come from the sports world of track and field. She ran track and field for a long period of time. And
I love the giggle when you said she ran. She ran. I was on a roster.
She was on a roster for a long period of time. And so there's like more context, and like she, you know, you can hear the excitement in her voice when she speaks about track and field.
Yes, I will say track and field is my heart. I ran all throughout. Yeah, I ran in college. I ran in college. I ran the hurdles, the 100, the 400 hurdles. In high school, I did the triple jump, high jump.
Oh, wow. Okay.
4x1, 4x4. Anything they needed me on, I did.
How much do you run nowadays?
Actually, I run a couple times a week.
Oh,
you didn't see that
yes,
coming.
you did. You did.
Yeah, you were trying to put me on the spot, but I've actually started back running. So joke's on you.
Nice. Love to hear it.
But yeah, so I was really, really excited to see all of the athletes in the track and field events. I was able to catch everything except for the 100 meter hurdles, which was probably the one event that I wanted to see the most. But due to being out in the wilderness with no service, I missed that event, but I caught up on it later, which was bittersweet because Masai Russell, who is a young hurdler out of Maryland, went to the University of Kentucky. She fell at World Championships in Budapest last year. And so she didn't make the podium, but for her to win gold at the Olympics was pretty amazing. Yeah. But bittersweet because one of my favorite athletes, Alasia Johnson, who is from I believe she's originally from Texas, but went to the University of Oregon, also an AKA, clipped the third hurdle, and was out of podium contention pretty early in the race. So
that was disappointing, especially given like how much noise how great she is, and that she's not sponsored. And I know that her whole motivation and goal, it felt like was like, you know, not that she had to prove anything to anyone, but it felt like she was coming with vengeance. And to see that happen, like off of like, there's no margin for error. And I think you were speaking about this before when it comes to the 100 hurdle specifically.
Yeah.
It's like everything has to be executed within like a 2% margin, if that.
Yeah.
But in the gold medal race, I don't even know if you got 2% margin. Like, It's like you have to execute 100%, and anything beyond that, you're not gonna.
Yeah. And I would say like that race is probably the most your mental state is like the most important in that race, right? Like running the hurdles is no joke. In the 400 hurdles, especially like if you mess up early on, you have time to like make up any mistakes or at least get back in the race. 100 hurdles, if you mess up, it's a wrap. It's done. There is no recovering.
And in that race, like the gold, silver, and bronze, they were like, they crossed the line to the naked eye. They crossed the line at the same time.
They had to sit there and wait for the results to pop up, you know? So I really felt bad for her because she didn't make the Olympic team last year due to a mental error heading into the first hurdle, even after having a great season up until that point. And then for her to then make it, have such a great season again this year, and then get all the way to the finals and be in, people thought she was going to make the podium. And then for her to have that error and not make it was a little bit heartbreaking. But, that's why we run the race, and it is what it is. And she seems to be in good spirits after.
Yeah, that's
and grateful that she had the season she had and made it, as far as she did. What other races were amazing? The 4x1. I mean,
for the
women and for the women, the men, yeah. The men, on the other hand, I just kind of like that was like an eye roll because at this point,
I'm just not gonna watch that race in 28.
Yeah, like when the commentators got on and started talking about how the men haven't been on the podium in 20 years, and it's been 24 years since they won the gold, the U.S. men. I was like, and then they showed a montage of all of their messed up handoffs throughout the years. I was like, here we go. They're about to pull.
Amadi was telling me they have like training camps specifically for the relay teams.
They do. But take into consideration, Noah Lyles was supposed to be in the 4x1 relay. He tested positive for COVID, ran the 200, and then announced he was not going to be in the 4x1. Which means that
I was going to get there.
But that
we'll come back to Noah.
Yeah, we'll come back to Noah, but that plays into this because I'm sure he was going to anchor that race, which means now we have to not only put somebody new in, but their coaches are like, well, whoever we're putting in is not going to be, we have 3 other people who are probably faster than the person that we're slotting in. So we need to reorganize things, which means that a day before the race, we're changing orders. People who haven't handed off to each other or practiced with each other now got to get this baton around the track. And that's where we landed. Another botched handoff that leads to a disqualification, let alone, not making the podium or winning gold for the U.S. men's team.
Okay, that was, I hate to say it, but like if I'm pointing a finger, it was Kenny's fault. Which it was that handoff, like he left too early.
He left way too early.
For Christian to give him the baton. And I don't know what the lineup would have been prior to that, but it's like, yeah.
I think it would have been reversed. I don't know. I don't know what the original order was, but Fred Curley would have been either first or probably first originally, and handing it off to Christian or to Kenny, who hands off to the other, who then hands to Noah, in my opinion.
I loved, clearly okay, we got to move from track and field, but the other race I'll talk about is the 4x4. Like the U.S. women, they ate that race up and gave like no mercy. It was beautiful to see, like to see Sydney run the 400 open leg like in that way. I'm like, maybe that's what's next for her because she's conquered the 400 hurdles. Maybe she might be trying to go for that world record, but yeah. And then
You mean
obviously
the world record in the open 4?
No. Oh, she already has it in the hurdles, right?
She got it like 5 times over in the hurdles.
Yeah, she like keep beating it. I'm like, what is there left for her to do?
Right.
And then the men, they came through, I guess, redemption in a way, but not really. It's different races, a different race for the 4x4 as well. But I wanted to come back to Noah to ask you, what do you think of Noah? What do you think about him? What's your perspective?
My perspective of Noah, not my favorite person, if I'm being completely honest.
Okay.
He comes off
from
to me
a non-personal standpoint, like from a brand standpoint, like his personality. You know how we talked about a lot of times, like you need a personality to be able to carry the weight of
you. Yes, you do. I just still don't know if that's the personality you need, right?
But Janelle, you can't.
No, yes, I can, because my thing is, it doesn't come off as authentic. It comes off to me as corny. And so when he says, fast forward, he says he wants a signature shoe. I don't know anybody who wants to be like Noah and therefore will buy a Noah shoe. And it's because he gets up there, beats his chest, and I don't believe it. It comes off as a mask to me. It really does. You know what I mean? Like it does not come off as authentic. He wants to be, it seems like wants to be the bad boy of track and field, and it's not reading like that to me.
Okay, I get that it's not reading like that. But do you understand the amount of confidence that you have to come out and do all this beating of your chest and still be able to produce the results that warrant you as that?
I understand that, but I just think that he has taken on, he's wearing a costume of a personality that does not fit him. I think there are better personalities that he could have chosen that would not even like to make him more likable. I don't care about the confidence and the whatever. That stuff doesn't bother me. The talking shit about the men's basketball team, all that kind of stuff. Okay. It doesn't bother me. It just does not sound authentic coming from him. And so I just don't think that the track and field villain, like he sits up there talking about, I got asthma and depression and anxiety, but also fear me. Like, I'm not afraid.
That is crazy, Janelle. You can't say I got asthma, dyslexia.
She got the whole
but
list
also
of
fear me.
and COVID, but be scared of me. It's just like, nah, I don't believe it. Something about it just does not come off as authentic to me. And I agree, like this is coming from someone who agreed with his comments about like like NBA championships not being like the world championships, like all that stuff. What he was saying wasn't false. It was just the way in which he did it just didn't fit him.
So he has a few character flaws.
Okay.
But I do think that he should have a signature shoe. I do think, even if it's a test and learn, and the reason I say that is because you do have like Adidas athletes that have their own shoe that ain't won not an air championship. Like the points he's making is, the points that he makes is valid. And if we're talking about like bringing more exposure and things like that to different sports that we feel like they should, I think track and field in the Olympics is one of the most.
I 100% agree with that. But you know who? I 100% agree with that. But number one, let's be completely honest. Basketball sells more shoes than track and field, right? So like it makes sense that Anthony Edwards has a shoe. Let's not go there. But just looking at track and field versus track and field. In 96, when Michael Johnson had his gold, you wanted to, he looked cool as shit with his gold chain and his gold spikes. Mm-hmm. I don't get that from Noah. Like he comes on the track, he does his little Yu-Gi-Oh joint, does this little, pulls out the Yu-Gi-Oh card.
10 feet in the air.
Yeah, like it just is not translating to me. He needs to find another strategy. To be completely honest with you.
I think everybody will always have this perspective of him, but I think it will be his legacy and I think it'll catch up. And I'm not saying that's a good thing, And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I do think that he is stamping himself as like a marquee athlete, hate him or love him, in his sport. And
Yeah,
for
I
that,
mean,
I think like I like it. I like the disruption. I like the conversation that he
I do think that,
continues to push
yeah,
for his sport.
I do think that while I don't believe it, he is pushing like a conversation. So like track and field usually only gets talked about every 4 years at the Olympics. When he made the comments about the track, about about the NBA championships, that was not an Olympic year. No one allows, usually under normal circumstances, nobody's talking about you in between there, and they were talking about him. You know what I mean? So like, sure, that as a strategy, it keeps track and field relevant, I guess. You know, maybe it gives Adidas something to build a story around, and maybe the story becomes a bit more believable as they continue to craft it. I'm just looking at him with like the pearls in his hair and the Ramoa briefcase with the Yu-Gi-Oh cards in it. And I'm just not afraid of that dude. I'm just not intimidated by him, whether he wins or not. I'm just not.
But that's the thing. Like, that's what makes it so hard to accept, especially for his competitors, is like, you're so corny and I can't beat you.
But then just be corny. Stop trying to be corny and a badass. Pick one.
Okay. Points made. All right, real quick, because I'm looking at the time. I do want to discuss, I believe it was the 96 Olympics that were held in Atlanta.
Yes.
Nike was not an official sponsor of those Olympics, but they did something really cool. And I saw a thread or a LinkedIn post, and I wish I could remember who posted it, but essentially, like, Nike purchased 1,000 billboards in the city throughout Atlanta with the slogan, you don't win silver, you lose gold. So like when you arrived in Atlanta, it looked like Nike was an official sponsor. Yeah. And those ads were literally everywhere except inside of the actual Olympic venues. And then they also were official sponsors of like specific athletes. So Michael Johnson, obviously, that gold shoe moment, like for him to win gold in the 400 final, everywhere that you saw, or the commentators, they talked about those shoes. So without them actually sponsoring the event, they clearly were there and made a splash. And then also within like the Olympic venues, I think this was for track and field, they handed out free like Nike flags. So even in the media coverage, like when they were panning the crowd and stuff like that, you just saw a sea of Nike flags in everybody's television screen.
Right.
And yeah, so it's like all these moments that they didn't necessarily pay to participate. And then the other thing, I think like right across the street from the Olympic Village, right across from like the Olympic, I don't know if they call it Olympic Village, but for lack of a better term, they had a Nike house where athletes could go and meet with their family and like have food and chill and like just a different, like a social hangout spot. So all these things, and I think there were more things in this, culminated to Nike's free marketing, not free, but free outside of sponsoring the Olympics, to them winning the Olympics.
Yeah.
Reebok did eventually like sue the Atlantic Organizing Committee for failing to protect like the sponsorship rights. I think that the case was settled, but I think it goes to prove like when you're able to be creative and push the bounds outside of what is traditional, like, oh, in order for us to really have a presence, we have to officially sponsor. And looking at other avenues to explore, like, okay, how do we go around about, one, it's innovative, but then it's one of those things where it's like, you can't do that unless you got the sauce. And it's like, okay, cool, we not able to sponsor, then this is what we'll do, this is how we'll pivot. I thought that was just like a cool insight to see like a big brand like Nike do that, because you would have watched the Olympics and without knowing, you were like, oh yeah, they're sponsoring.
Sponsors. Yeah, that's dope. I read I didn't know like all the specific tactics that they did, but I recently discovered that they weren't official sponsors of the 96 Olympics too, because you would think that they were.
Yep.
One more thing before we leave track and field and wrap this episode up, because we are running short on time. I did want to call back to the last episode we did when we were talking about beauty brands sponsoring the Olympics, or what that looks like, with Fenty being the official like beauty sponsor and all this kind of stuff, and the conversation around the face cards of some of these Olympic athletes, specifically around track and field. I'm like, some of these beauty brands need to tap in. Okay.
Yeah.
These girls were gorgeous. And
always are.
Exactly. And I saw a shot early on in like one of the early rounds where Sha'Carri was about to run, and she's seen on the side like applying her Fenty lip gloss. And I'm like, that's the ad right there. But I'm like, Fenty, tap in. Ami Cole, tap in. Topicals, tap in. Like, these girls
You missing one.
Win Beauty, tap in.
Tap in. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Win Beauty, tap in.
Yeah, you're right. I did not think about that. That is an amazing, like, it's so obvious, but like, yes.
Yeah. So I
because I've always said, like, how are these girls coming out here in full beats, laced wigs?
And then all of them are like TikTok stars. So they all have get ready with me's as they're applying their makeup and showing their whole makeup routine before they head to the track and all this kind of stuff. Come on.
Yes. That seems like just such an obvious play. Like, somebody needs to stop playing with me, or stop playing with you.
Stop playing with both of us.
Yeah, I love that. All right, cool. Y'all, this was basically the Olympics recap. There were lots of things happening, and yeah, we had to talk about it because we hadn't really even talked about it outside of this. So like, to get a chance to like sit, and I'm sure there's dozens of things that we're missing and not even tapping into. But yeah, the Olympics is such a huge moment in time for the world. And if brands are able to tap into that, whether it's like on the large scale, obviously sponsorships and things like that, great. But then there's so many different pockets that you can really lean into, clearly what you just spoke. But yeah, anything else on that? Ready to jump into?
No.
All right, so you want to jump into going with your black ads, or that ain't it?
Yes.
And this could be like, yeah, you got it.
Okay. Going with your black ads, I'm going to give that to Nike for all the win ads and the individual athlete spots that they dropped. They killed it. That ain't it. Homegirl from Australia breakdancing. You know what you did. Don't do it again. Period.
Oh my God, that is crazy. I'm going to go ahead and go on with your black ads to all the black athletes that held the USA down, because y'all came and y'all ate. Yeah. Honestly, I'm giving it to the entire USA team, because clearly we won another Olympics, because we're that girl.
Speaking of being that girl, though, shout out to the to all the black women that were in the Olympics, but the women, period. I think they showed if U.S. women were just a country of their own, they would have had the third most gold medals.
Oh wow! Yeah. Just wow, like, that's
as
crazy.
As a country, yeah.
Yeah, so that's crazy. Go off. And then that ain't it. I'm gonna give that to whatever this governing board of the gymnastic team is, that is trying and attempting to take Jordan Childs' bronze medal away. In our eyes, she will always be the most elite, or amongst the elite gymnasts. And y'all can take 3 black women being on that podium, celebrating and being happy with all of their places, and celebrating and uplifting each other. That image will forever be etched in our memories. And we got you, Jordan. The culture got you.
Yeah. Co-sign
cool.
that. All right.
All right, y'all. This wraps another episode of Witcha Black Ads. As always, please like, follow, subscribe, share, and hit us with anything you see in these streets. And until next time, see y'all.
Bye.
That's what the fuck I'm talking about. God. That's what I'm talking about. It was so black ass. It was black ass.